the Australian Grand Prix meeting starts, because leaving the pit lane for the final half-hour practice session, known as the warm-up, the first man away is Nicola Larini, the Italian in the French Ligier. There is his teammate with the red tabs, Philippe Alliot. Roberto Moreno in the Benetton. Alain Prost starting from the second row of the grid. 3 times world champion Nelson Piquet. Andrea De Cesaris in the Dallara. Satoru Nakajima, the Japanese driver. Stefano Modena, the Italian. And Gianni Morbidelli driving for the first time in Australia in the Grand Prix. Pierluigi Martini. David Brabham exits, having qualified in 25th place. Now, this is in no sense a race. It is in no sense even qualification. All that is behind the drivers. Their grid decisions have been decided. What they're doing in this final half hour on race day is to set up their cars to make sure that they are in exactly the trim that they need them to be in terms of suspension and everything else that is adjustable. And it is not until now that we are able to compare the performance of the individual cars and drivers in race conditions. Because up to now, in qualifying, for instance, I'm quite certain that Senna and Berger would have had special qualifying Honda V10 engines, giving more power but not able to go a race distance. The same could very well have applied to the Ferraris and the Williams Renaults to a lesser extent. But now, in this final half hour, these are the actual race cars in race trim. And you invariably find that the top 6, when this period has finished, are much closer to each other in terms of time than the top 6 on the grid. And we'll see whether that is the case today. We're now 5 minutes into the session, and Prost has, I think, blown up the engine, because you can see smoke pouring from the back of the car, and it stopped very suddenly indeed as it went past our commentary point in the grandstand. Alain Prost hops out of the car. Well, it's lucky for him, if the engine was going to blow up, that it blew up there, because he's only got to go the length of the pit lane to get in the spare car. And of course the Ferrari mechanics will have plenty of time to change the engine in this car. There are 4 Ferraris here, 2 each for Mansell and for Prost, who are starting 3rd and 4th on the grid. But not a very good start for Prost on race day, to have the car that he was setting up for the nearly 2 hours of racing this afternoon die on him, and die in a very vivid, spectacular fashion. Ayrton Senna, pole position for the 52nd time in his career. And he's going to be a very, very hard man to beat here today. Starting from pole position, clear track in front of him. He's never won in Australia, but he's been pole position holder 4 times in the 6 years that the Grand Prix will have been held. Nigel Mansell is fastest at the present moment, 8 minutes into the 30-minute session. That is Nigel Mansell that we're looking at now. Gerhard Berger has yet to win a Grand Prix in 1990. All the drivers, all the top drivers, have got their own personal incentive here today. Senna to prove that he's a worthy world champion. Prost to prove that he should have been world champion, in his view, by winning in Australia again. Nigel Mansell's incentive, with no team pressures on him to support Prost, will be to win his last race for Ferrari, and Berger's will be to win his first race for McLaren. John Alesi, who is following Berger, will be driving for Ferrari next year. And as a long shot, John Alesi is a possible winner here in Adelaide today. David Brabham, having qualified his car, his Brabham, and we're riding with it now, looking back. And the heat, of course, is building up here all the time as we get towards noon, when the sun will be at its highest, and all the time the tarmac is absorbing heat, getting warmer and warmer. And I know here's a spin, it's Johnny Herbert. Johnny Herbert spins, but it looks to me as though with a bit of luck he won't have hit the concrete barrier. Well, he was lucky. You can see he's just engaging first gear. Oh, and a handbrake turn, except that he hasn't got a handbrake. He gave it a lot of power and spun it round again. Johnny Herbert spun, and he'll be very pleased indeed that he didn't hit the wall and derange the suspension. The flag is out. Derek Warwick takes it. The half-hour final practice at Adelaide has been completed. And here's Senna. Now let's just make absolutely sure as the Brazilian crosses the line now. Yes, it is Alain Prost fastest in the pre-race morning final half hour, with Ayrton Senna second fastest, Berger in the second McLaren third, Mansell in the second Ferrari fourth, John Alesi fifth, Thierry Boutsen sixth, his teammate Riccardo Patrese seventh, followed by Derek Warwick eighth, Piquet ninth, Moreno 10th. And the weather is superb for the Australian Grand Prix in 4 hours' time.
Alan, you're quickest in the morning warm-up. Are you happy with everything?
Difficult to be happy with everything because it is so difficult in race condition, especially about the tires and also the brakes. I mean, I'm very happy with the brakes at the moment. We have to calculate. We have a big problem with the wear of the disc. And I know that a lot of cars are really in a bad condition, so it will be a tough race because it's very long, and if you start too fast, maybe you have problems, you know, with tires and brakes. So it will be another tactic race, maybe.
Of which you're an expert.
Yeah, because I set up the car quite well at the moment, but you know, everything can happen, especially the first corner.
Yeah, the T car blew up, didn't it?
Yeah, I don't know, but something was wrong because the engine did not work, only for one lap, but it was not working well, so I'm not too pessimistic because that was not my engine for the race anyway, and you know, that can happen.
Great, Alain, thank you.
Thank you.
Alain Prost, LOV. The car had a bit of a problem, but it wasn't the one he's going to be using this afternoon. Well, let's check out how they went around there this morning and see who was fastest. We know it was Alain Prost, followed by Senna, Gerhard Berger, Mansell, Alesi, Boutsen's down there in 6th spot. A bit slower today than, of course, over the last couple. They're not qualifying here. It was just a warm-up. Riccardo Patrese, Derek Warwick, Nelson Piquet, Moreno, Martini and Nakajima. So, you know, everything according to plan, I guess, Jackie.
I think Prost said it there, it's going to be a race of strategy. I think he's good at that. He mentioned brakes. I've mentioned them several times in our telecast over the last couple of days or so. It really could be a problem. Wear and tear on those carbon fibre brakes because there's a lot of braking here. Alesi gets into the corner slower because the Tyrrell and the Ford engine that he's using isn't quite as powerful as the Ferrari and the Honda engine, for example. So he may have a big advantage on brakes at the end of the race against, let's say, the hares. He's the tortoise in this case.
OK, well, we will have more from Adelaide right after the break.
Hi, I'm David Brabham. I'll be racing in the first Australian Grand Prix for me, and I hope you'll be watching on Nine's Wide World of Sports.
Like yesterday, nice and easy. Here we go. Nice and soft. There we go. Put your feet in. Nice and easy. Just going to turn around underneath the canopy. Hi guys. How we going up there?
Well, I tell you what, son, I'd rather be where I am than where you are right now. But that's some marvellous pictures here over Adelaide. Just part of the many activities that surround this 500th Grand Prix, and that is our